It is January 24, 2026. The place is Duke County, Jonglei State. The time is 5 p.m. General Johnson Oloy, the newly appointed Assistant Chief of Defense Forces, stands before East Agwelek militia. He's not giving a pep talk. He gives an execution order. That is, don't spare the elderly. Don't spare a chicken. Don't spare a house. By mid-March, satellite thermal imaging from the United Nations reveals a scorched health path across the Upper Nile. About this time, the United Nations estimate about 280,000 civilians having fled into the mud of Malakal. The people of Akovo have been displaced to Ethiopian border, suffering a major operation from the only forces that's supposed to protect them. While the world tracks high-speed electric vehicles trade deals in the west, South Sudan is regressing into a medieval state of siege where logistical shortcomings mean soldiers are sent to the front line to fight their citizens and told to loot what you need. This isn't a glitch in the transition to peace. This is the logic of the South Sudan system, which has been in play for a decade and a half now since the independence. Welcome to Africa Decode. In this channel, we analyze major issues in the Horn of Africa with special focus on Ethiopia and South Sudan. South Sudan is broken because its leadership has discovered that instability is more profitable than peace. I call this the Insolvency Siege. The government is using a state of permanent financial collapse to justify a permanent transitional government, effectively holding 12 million people hostage to avoid the December 2026 election. We are 8 months away from a scheduled national vote that has zero funding, no voter rolls, and a National Election Commission that has only received 4% of its budget. The clock isn't ticking toward democracy, it's ticking toward a collapse of the 2018 peace agreement, which has technically collapsed. To understand this, there are three pillars that we need to examine to verify if South Sudan is still standing as a country or just a skeleton. The first pillar should be the foundation. Now, look at the economic feedback loop. It's a death spiral by design. In 2024, the Dar Petroleum Oil Company, the country's only major export route, ruptured during the war in neighboring Sudan. Then the government lost 75% of its revenue overnight. But instead of reform, they pivoted to oil-backed loans, pre-selling oil that hasn't even been pumped yet to international creditors such as Afrexim Bank, over $657 million, Nasdaq General Trading, over $400 million, Sahara Energy, $128 million, and BB Energy, over $100 million. The worst problem? Because the future is already sold, the treasury is empty. Public servants and soldiers haven't been paid in 13 months by the time of doing this analysis. When you don't pay an army in case of South Sudan, if there is one, they turn into a militia. They kill citizens like what they did in Nasser, Akobo, and Tonj, etc. They loot the markets they were supposed to protect, destroying the tax base, ensuring the government stays broke. The data is showing us that hyperinflation is peaking over 100%. The South Sudanese pound has effectively become paper. This second pillar reveals how power is actually maintained without a budget. You follow the hardware. Weapons like the RPG-7 and AK-47 are flowing from Juba into the hands of proxies like those of Oloy's Agwelek and Abushok forces. The state outsources the violence. If the army isn't paid, the government can claim it cannot contain the ethnic clashes in Jonglei State or United State. It's a supply chain of chaos that keeps opposition areas too unstable to organize for a vote while ensuring the oppressing leaders stay on the power for life. One mother in Malakal transit camp told the United Nations that the men who burned my house wore the same boots as the men who came to protect us the next day. Finally, Look at the institutional breakdown. South Sudan is currently being compared to a predatory garrison state. The World Food Programme reports a $355 million funding shortfall for 2026, while the government claims a 22% GDP growth. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that 10 million people, which is two-thirds of the entire population, require humanitarian aid. Imagine that. On the other hand, Juba points to technical committees as progress, which by far this claim symbolizes the failure of major public institutions in the country. The African Union sees political inertia. One side it sees a roadmap. The other sees a stall tactic. In any other nation, a 13-month salary arrears for the entire military would trigger an immediate coup. In South Sudan, it is simply Tuesday. So, who benefits? The information vacuum allows the elite to claim they are trying, while the document for the 1.8 billion humanitarian appeals go unfunded and the oil money vanishes into special projects. Doubting the government's commitment to peace is not a conspiracy theory. It's a mathematical certainty based on 13 years of failed deadlines. We have the data. We have the thermal images of the burning villages, and we have the names of those giving the orders publicly, such as Johnson Olony. So the question is, if we keep funding a peace process that is being used as a cover for a permanent war, are we actually helping the people of South Sudan, or are we just paying the bill for their imprisonment?